Well, this past year, we've seen a lot of public interest in searching for missing people. And did you know that right now in the state of Kansas, there are roughly about 500 people who are unaccounted for. Now, there are folks who are hoping to change that, and today I'm going to introduce you to a couple of them. We have Andy and Alex with Seek1 Search and Rescue, and you all have been involved in a number of cases, in fact, including the one here in Sedgwick County recently in Shelton. So, I mean, certainly very interested in these very important cases in our community. We want to talk, though, about your organization. What are you about? Like, how did this all come to be?
Yeah, so about exactly a year ago, there was a silver alert out in western Reno County, where a lot of us are from.
Yeah.
So most of us were involved in spearheading the search efforts for that. We worked with a couple organizations, one out of Oklahoma, that does pretty much what we're doing now. We saw that there's not really an organization that's doing that, you know, organizing the resources, the people, for a large-scale search like that. So we decided that that's something that we feel called to do, and for the last year we've been building our organization to what we have today here.
What's that been like this past year? The growth, I'm sure. Things have probably picked up. I mean, like I said, a lot of interest.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work. I've never started a nonprofit before, so been a lot of figuring out things like that. But it's been really good to see everybody come together, see the community support us. Everything has just really worked out. We felt God's blessing every step of the way, and it's exciting to be a part of this.
What does it mean to you guys to go, and especially for families who they're struggling, they just want some help, to go and to be out there and to be a voice for them?
Absolutely. In the mission statement of Seek1, we talk about how we are providing skilled search and rescue services, but also providing community building and being present in crisis. And that involves a lot of different things. That's sitting with families, hearing stories. I think it's very important work, and it can be difficult at times, but I think it's important that we have that force in Kansas.
You provide a lot. What are things, though, that you don't do? I'm sure there's some misconceptions.
Yeah, so we do mostly rural area searches. I know there's a lot of missing people in Wichita and city limits, things like that. So what we need is some good info on last known location, things like that. And, you know, somebody that's just disappeared, here's where they were, we don't know where they're at now. That's kind of what we specialize in. So, we don't do just any search case for, you know, missing person, but
particularly anything related to criminal investigation. We leave that entirely to law enforcement. But on, say, somebody goes missing in a state park or something, we'll coordinate with Parks Enforcement and police to help on those searches. And
how can people find you? Because I know some people watching right now are probably quite interested. They want to learn more. Where can they go to?
Well, Facebook and Instagram, Seek1 Search and Rescue. We also have a website that just launched recently, seek1sar.com. There's contact info there. There's information if people want to be involved further, if they want to donate, anything like that. They can find that all there.
We want them to go to your guys' way. Thank you guys so much for being here. Again, a lot of people missing in our community, and these two among a group and many people who are interested in going and helping. Your work is so important, so thank you guys so much. Coming up next here on Kansas Now, we're going to take a look at that forecast. Caitlin and Doug have information that you need to know.